the first overall pick in the draft, this channel selects Rocket Money as the sponsor of this video. Money management is a fascinating subject to me. To see where it goes, to properly get a handle on your finances. So many subscriptions pile up month over month, year over year. It leads to a lot of monetary bleeding that can be avoided. And this is what Rocket Money does best for me. The app helps me manage my subscriptions, and in particular cancel them on my behalf. I realized that I had been spending a monthly fee to PBS that I hadn't been using. Nothing against them, but that sort of thing adds up if you're not careful. The good thing is with Rocket Money, they detect this info and offer you the ability to cancel the membership with premium. That's saving space for the service itself, and there's so much more you can do with it. I've requested cancellations with a few other services over the years, and the ability to manage and oversee your finances is an absolute plus. Rocket Money has saved customers over $500 million in canceled subscriptions. That's up to $740 a year. There are 5 million members using Rocket Money today, and you can be one of them. Just go to rocketmoney.com/tree to get started for free or unlock more features with premium. I'd say Rocket Money's worth the first overall pick. A true Hall of Famer. Maybe some of these first rounders can be as well.
With the first pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Chicago Bears select Caleb Williams, quarterback, Southern California.
Pick that was insanely obvious since December. Carolina, thank you for freeing the Bears from the killing fields. Now we might see atonement for passing on that which shall not be named in 2017. The age of Caleb has begun. A flashy pick with the dazzle of Patrick and the eccentricity of Prince. And some say his maturity issues because he cried at the end of a football game. He's going into an interesting situation in Chicago. A team that hasn't had much success in developing quarterbacks. If he can move mountains and win them games, he becomes a god in that city. Probably the greatest QB in franchise history. No pressure, Caleb, just all the expectations in the world.
The Washington Commanders select Jaden Daniels, quarterback, LSU.
Meet obvious pick number 2. Washington more than realized that Sam Howell wasn't the answer, and Daniels had some damn good stats at LSU. At his peak, a dynamic two-pronged weapon with the arm and his legs. The modern prototype. Washington's got the potential answer to Jalen Hurts, and the commies need that answer badly. The NFC East has always seen them as a punching bag. They need to shed the label given to them by the Snyder era. If Daniels can do that, he gets shrines built in his name. Now, about that offensive line Washington has. Howell all but died back there last season. I reckon they should try to get that fixed before Jaden gets RG3.
The New England Patriots select Drake May, quarterback, North Carolina.
Imagine that Justin Herbert and Josh Allen had a baby. You would end up with Drake May. A lot of people are going to be scared off because of a certain other quarterback that went to UNC. But as I learned with Herbert, it's about the process, not the program. In New England, he's got a new era to usher in. Bill Belichick would have never considered May as his man, but he doesn't have much room to talk. His Mac crashed and wasn't able to be restarted. May has consistency issues, and he has to hammer out his weaknesses, but he strikes me as very boomer bust. If he booms, Patriot insufferability will rise again.
The Arizona Cardinals select Marvin Harrison Jr., wide receiver, Ohio State.
4 picks, no chaos. It's so peaceful and calm. Everyone and their mother knew that the Cardinals were gunning for an elite weapon for Kyler. And they didn't just get him a new car, they got him a Maserati. Turns out no one wanted to trade 3 firsts to pick another QB. They'll settle for the man pegged as the top receiver of the class. One that harkens back to a certain individual named Larry. He was pretty good in the desert. Perhaps Marvin will be the same here? That mostly depends on Kyler's health, but if he doesn't pan out in Arizona, something has gone terribly wrong.
The Los Angeles Chargers select Joe Alt, tackle, Notre Dame.
Okay, this is definitely an interesting pick. Figured they'd have gone Neighbors or Bowers to add to Herbert's arsenal, but a powerful tackle? Part of me likes it. You have a premium asset at QB you need to protect. And Alt's got the bloodlines to make him a good one. Do you want to trade Justin to the Patriots or Vikings? Fuck no. He'll probably be moving from left to right tackle, but Harbaugh has set the tone for the franchise. Builds from the inside out. A strong offensive line leads to a strong offense. and I certainly don't blame him for that logic.
The New York Giants select Malik Neighbors, wide receiver, LSU.
I wanted them to pick J.J. McCarthy. For incredibly selfish reasons, of course. Totally not to see an endless amount of salt from one man in particular. To be fair, the Giants did try to move up to 3 to take Drake May, but New England was having none of it. Therefore, the G-men will stick with the vanilla option of Daniel Jones and try to get him an actual receiving target. Hopefully this one has hands. Malik Neighbors does seem to have some sturdy mitts. Perhaps he suddenly won't lose them like Kenny Galladay did. To be fair, Malik's success doesn't depend on his skill, but on the health of Danny Derps. We've seen how bad it can be without him under center. Somehow, middling is desirable here.
The Tennessee Titans select J.C. Latham, tackle, Alabama.
The Chargers poached target number 1 in Joe Alt. Fucking bastards. Desperately needing a right tackle, they get the next man up on their board. J.C. Latham shot up like a rocket after the Combine and Pro Day. With his size and agility, Bill Callahan dreams about him dominating in the trenches. The Titans' O-line, how do I say this nicely, was pretty dire last season. They need reinforcements badly. Getting the elder Callahan to mold these men is already a plus. But he needs the best clay he can get. Just need a few years in the kiln.
The Atlanta Falcons select Michael Penix Jr.
Well, there it is.
Quarterback, Washington.
Really? Are you fucking serious, Atlanta? You have desperate needs at edge rusher. Dallas Turner and Laiatu Latu were sitting right there for the taking, yet you pick Michael Penix? Don't get me wrong, I like Penix as a player, but to the Falcons? Did they conveniently forget that Kirk Cousins just inked a contract worth 9 figures guaranteed? When you apparently tampered so badly the NFL's gonna lay the hammer down? This pick legitimately had my jaw dropped to the fucking floor. I get it, Jordan Love and the Packers model. He was 20 when drafted. Penix is 24 with a lengthy injury history. While not alerting Cousins that you'd be selecting his heir apparent this high? What the fuck are you doing down there? Terry Fontenot's putting his job on the line with this move. And if he fails, he'll go down as a fucking idiot. There's bold and then there's an Evel Knievel job. This is the latter.
The Chicago Bears select Rome Odunze, wide receiver, Washington.
And the perfect pick for Chicago falls right into their damn lap. Bears just won the draft with 2 selections. They could go golfing for the rest of this, and every media pundit would be hailing them as geniuses. Everyone and their mother had quarterback boners, including Chicago, which allows them to get the last of the big 3 receivers available for the taking. Odunze's another potentially devastating weapon for Caleb. It's an interesting time to be a Bears fan. Things are finally moving in the right direction on paper. And this is on and off the field. If they don't find a way to win with all this talent on offense, I'm simply going to assume the team is cursed and needs to contract.
The Minnesota Vikings select
J.J. McCarthy,
quarterback, Michigan.
I was hoping for shenanigans with McCarthy. Trubisky-esque rise had some wondering if he would leapfrog May or even Daniels in the draft hierarchy, but things were a bit more restrained. Minnesota only had to move up 1 spot to get the guy they'd been gunning for just so the Broncos couldn't get him. I never really understood the booming stock of JJ over the past month. I was a game manager in college. It at least signifies a high floor, but his upside at the next level will be debated for ages on end. The dude does make some very tight window throws, though. And let's be real, the Vikings weren't going to trust Sam Darnold as the long-term solution. This one was a match made in heaven. Or hell, depending on outcome.
The New York Jets select Olu Fashanu, tackle, Penn State.
Let me show you the moment when the Jets realized they needed a left tackle. They neglected O-line last year and it killed their season. Olu Fashanu will hopefully fix that issue. Whether it be with Aaron Rodgers or someone else in the future is to be determined. The Jets have been cursed with lineman picks recently. Becton and Vera Tucker have been unable to stay on the football field. Placeholders signed to fill gaps have been overmatched and underwhelming. Fashanu needs to have immediate impact. The expectations on him will be immense. And he has the talent to make it happen. Now, if it does, that's for time to tell.
The Denver Broncos select Bo Nix.
There it is.
Quarterback, Oregon.
This is what happens when you have a desperate need at quarterback and all the good ones were poached off the board. 6 quarterbacks taken in the first 12 selections, and trends dictate that at least 2 of them won't pan out. Denver is deep in the copium stage, but the throwback to the Elway days is on full display, reaching on another tall YQB, who hopefully won't become Paxton Lynch 2.0. Did you seriously expect them to settle with Jarrett Stidham and Zach fucking Wilson? They needed something, even if it's a guy who's been in college for roughly a decade. I swear I started the YouTube game when he was a freshman. Did do well at Oregon, though. It could work out. For standard, the ride never ends, Broncos. This carousel stop lever has been ripped off.
The Las Vegas Raiders select Brock Bowers, tight end, Georgia.
Tight end Brock Bowers. Interesting. He's excellent value at a position where he wasn't expected to fall. Then again, the Raiders did just draft Michael Mayer in the 2nd round just last year. Yet even for the excess goods, I kinda like it. 2 tight end set has worked well in the past. Just look at Ken Dilger and Marcus Pollard. Bowers and Mayer could complement each other very well if they get the right quarterback in tow. Question is, do they have the right one there now? Minshew's a journeyman, and AOC is, well, AOC. It's probably going to take another year or 2 to get the offensive vision in play, but Bowers should be fun to watch. Well, if they don't keep him in storage like Kyle Pitts. Still pissed they picked Jackson Powers-Johnson over the Steelers, though.
The New Orleans Saints select Taliese Fuaga, tackle, Oregon State.
Peanut butter and jelly. That's the best comparison to make between the Saints and their need at tackle. Ryan Ramczyk might be forced to retire due to injuries, and Trevor Penning hasn't panned out. Taliese Fuaga was the best on the board for their gigantic sinkhole at the position. They did just throw a lot of money at Derek Carr last offseason, you know. Maybe a futile effort trying to shore up a drooping foundation with mud and sand, but you can't just give up. People are stubborn. Trust me, I know from experience.
The Indianapolis Colts select Laiatu Lotu, defensive end, UCLA.
Finally, the long wait is over. First defensive player off the board in this draft at pick 15. Indy failed to get Daniil Hunter for their edge rushing fix, so they go and grab one of the best in the draft. Laiatu Latu, an alliterative dream and a half, will hopefully be as smooth on the field as saying his name. He has the look of a modern pass rusher, with a speed and finesse that will mean trouble for the AFC South. Same goes for Adonai Mitchell if he pans out as a receiver. Good on Chris Ballard for going to bat for him.
The Seattle Seahawks select Byron Murphy, defensive tackle, Texas.
Seattle had horrible issues with stopping the running game last year. Far too often they were blown off the line and gave up significant gains to their opponents. They need bulls in their interior. Byron Murphy will join forces with Leonard Williams to possibly rectify part of this dilemma. It's a new age in Seattle without Pete Carroll, yet the pride in team defense has never left the Seahawks. Last year was deeply concerning in so many aspects. And this is especially true with how they got destroyed by offensive lines. They pray they can turn the tide.
The Minnesota Vikings select Dallas Turner, linebacker, Alabama.
Turner fell like a damn stone, so it's no surprise that the Vikings jumped up to take him here. They needed an heir apparent to Daniil Hunter. Dallas will be joining forces with Jonathan Grenard to hopefully terrorize opposing offenses. I'm intrigued by the aggression being shown by Minnesota. See an opportunity and strike while the iron's hot? I was wondering what they would do with that first rounder from Houston. Now we know. Now for the overall execution, that's to be determined. Same for Justin Jefferson's future deal.
The Cincinnati Bengals select Amarius Mims, tackle, Georgia.
This is the Jonah Williams replacement at right tackle. And the eternal struggle to find a viable offensive line to protect Joe Burrow continues on. They've had their moments, but for the most part, things haven't been optimal in the Queen City. And it's not just with Burrow's injury. We know about the T. Higgins impasse, and it's not only him that's unhappy. Trey Hendrickson has also requested a trade. He, like T, wants to be paid what he's worth now. A dangerous situation is afoot. And while Mims should help out with their protecting Burrow woes, there's a lot more to unravel in this box. Good luck there, Cincy.
The Los Angeles Rams select Jared Verse, defensive end, Florida State.
I don't believe it. Rams have a first-round pick. Thought they had traded at least the next 3. Yes, it's been a while since they've had one of these luxuries. Losing Aaron Donald to Ascension mode is devastating, and there'd be no way to truly replace him. Jared Verse is their attempt to at least try to shore up their defensive line. He's an edge rusher, and they addressed Donald's departure on day 2, so the new age of the Rams defense is here. They will be expected to have immediate impact. Godspeed, gentlemen. There's a quest for another ring to chase.
The Pittsburgh Steelers select Troy Fautanu, tackle, Washington.
This will hopefully end the Dan Moore Jr. experiment at blindside as it should have been last season. I've been begging the Steelers to solidify their offensive line for years. Guess what they did in the draft? Solidify their O-line with 3 of their first 5 picks. Fautanu should slot in as an immediate day 1 starter, as well as Zach Frazier. With the running attack they have, they're hoping to maul in the trenches. I will never complain about solidifying the O-line. As we've seen the Steel City, if they don't thrive, the offense sputters. And this will be done with an American Samoan with the first name of Troy picked in the first round. Surely we haven't seen this before.
The Miami Dolphins select Chop Robinson, linebacker, Penn State.
Miami's defense is in desperate need of overhauling. And this pick has a lot more to do with other elements at play. Mainly, I don't know, the fact that both of their high-profile edge rushers suffered severe injuries last year. Not to mention Van Ginkel and Ogba's departure, the situation had become more critical than not. Chop Robinson should hopefully fill such a role. For now, the situation is to use him and Shaq Barrett until either Chubb or Phillips are healthy. The Dolphins are a team thanks to cap issues that's reloading on the fly. The stench of January lingers.
The Philadelphia Eagles select Quinyon Mitchell, defensive back to leader.
Figures that a team that needs anything resembling reinforcements in the secondary would have their pick of any on the board. Corner didn't go until this point? What a strange coincidence. Quinyon Mitchell should be the heir apparent to Darius Slay and James Bradbury, and it's absolutely critical that a transition plan's in place. Roseman was pretty damn busy this past weekend, wheeling and dealing to tie a draft day record as an NFL day trader. But at least wide receiver is secure. A.J. Brown was paid once, and he's been paid the big bucks again. The rest of the NFC East is out here quoting the Big Lebowski. I hate the Eagles, man.
The Jacksonville Jaguars select Brian Thomas Jr., wide receiver, LSU.
I think this pick may have pissed off a few teams down the line. The Jaguars needed a big-time weapon to replace Calvin Ridley. Brian Thomas Jr. should fill in nicely to replace that glaring hole. Trevor Lawrence's stagnation, especially once Christian Kirk went down, is extremely alarming. Her incredible collapse on all fronts is as baffling as Trent Baalke's mid-round selections most years. I've never liked him as GM, but at least he got one thing right. Josh Allen got paid. They had no choice. If he left, the entire defense would have been lost. It just feels like a team stuck in neutral. But being able to break out of it is another question entirely. I do have to give bonus points to Tony Khan for keeping kayfabe. That is some tremendous dedication to the cause.
The Detroit Lions select Terrion Arnold, defensive back, Alabama.
This one makes way too much sense. Another position of serious need falls right into the lap of the Lions. Especially after Cam Sutton decided to play GTA IRL. Detroit's secondary was pretty dire last season, so it's a good story for a man who feels he's right at home. He'll probably join Amon-Ra St. Brown and Penei Sewell there. They just got extended long-term. It's so weird that players are eager to play for Detroit nowadays. It's a strange feeling. I need some time to adjust.
The Green Bay Packers and hosts for the 2025 NFL Draft select Jordan Morgan, tackle, Arizona.
Stop if you've heard this one before. Green Bay's biggest holes were poached from them in the last few picks. I'm looking right at cornerback and tackle. The latter position is of dire importance after losing Bakhtiari and Naiman. There isn't much else left, so all they can do is reach for the sake of scheme fit. There are 2 trains of thought here. You just have to take what you can get and hope they exceed expectations, or lose your mind because the Lions took your prized possession earlier. The other constant? Death, taxes, and the Packers trading down. Traditions of time.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers select Graham Barton, center, Duke.
This one is super obvious. Tampa Bay needed a starting center. Ryan Jensen was forced to retire due to injury. Barton is one of the best centers on the board. As simple as 2 + 2. The quest to defend their NFC South Division title made of zirconia is a noble one, and the Bucs have to keep Baker and company upright. I'm more of a Jackson Powers Johnson guy, but Barton should be pretty solid too. Always have to fortify the trenches. A lot of teams this round are.
the Arizona Cardinals select Darius Robinson, defensive tackle, Missouri.
At this point, all you have to do is throw a dart in a gigantic billboard and you'll hit a need for the Cardinals. This is a deep remodeling down to the studs. Merely going best player available is the right choice to make. A guy like Darius Robinson can never hurt that effort. It's gonna take a few years before Arizona can make a push, and Darius can develop in the process. Who knows? Maybe they strike gold with this one and get a gem.
The back-to-back Super Bowl champions, Kansas City Chiefs, select Xavier Worthy.
There it is.
Buffalo trading down in the first round with the Chiefs. Yes, this has definitely never backfired on the Bills in any way, shape, or form. So Buffalo wasn't able to get the receiver they wanted in Brian Thomas. It's one thing to trade down, but did you really have to gift wrap the fastest receiver in the history of the 40-yard dash to a dynasty? I know I shouldn't get attached to good combine scores, but knowing the Chiefs luck he's going to become the next Tyreek Hill because God's an asshole. He enjoys trolling certain fan bases, mainly the NFC West in Buffalo. Maybe I'll be wrong and he'll disappoint, but I'd have to see it with my own eyes first. They can't keep getting away with it.
The Dallas Cowboys select Tyler Guyton, tackle, Oklahoma.
This is apparently all in. Being highly conservative with your approach and pissing off everyone in the fan base. Tyler Guyton isn't a bad pick, though. Dallas had a huge left tackle-sized hole that could use filling. Guyton should be the concrete that solidifies that. And he should have day one impact. I just don't know about the rest of the Dallas dilemma. Mainly the whole Micah Parsons thing. And the Dak Prescott thing. And the million other things affecting Frisco. But not to worry, my friends. They got Zeke back. Told you they're going all in.
The Baltimore Ravens select Nate Wiggins, defensive back, Clemson.
Baltimore did need a compliment to Marlon Humphrey. They have to find ways to get past the huge speed bump in their way. While the defense isn't at fault for it, you have to keep adding to the arsenal. Nate Wiggins is the newest piece to their quest. Blazing speed, man. That's always an asset. The only other real concern was offensive tackle, and they got that in the second round. There's not much to say about the Ravens right now. Their tests will come next winter.
The San Francisco 49ers select Ricky Pearsall, wide receiver, Florida.
There's one reason and one reason alone for this pick. Trade rumors. Brandon Ayuk has been linked on shopping sites for what seems to be months now, and there are even a few Deebo Samuel rumors circling around. Whether or not those are true are to be determined. Pearsall fits the 49er mold. Fast, twitchy, and versatile. The kind of player that Shanahan can help thrive. San Francisco's got a huge cap crunch coming up in the next year or two, and they'll need impact rookies to take the burden. It's a very heavy one if I say so myself.
The Carolina Panthers select Xavier Legette, wide receiver, South Carolina.
So Buffalo traded down again. And this one is going to give up the fifth-year option to Keon Coleman if he pans out at this level. They're probably trying to save a few bucks, but guess what Carolina did? They drafted a wide receiver. Perhaps this one won't completely flop like most of the ones picked in recent memory. Xavier Legette is a good prospect, and he isn't going into as chaotic a wreck as last season. Hopefully. Panthers organization just can't catch a break. And you know why that is? There's been another David Tepper thing. Dude, you don't have to confront people every damn time they criticize you. Even Dan Snyder knew not to have tantrums with cameras on. Just shut the hell up and stay back. That's probably the best advice to me in this draft. It's way too early to judge anything but scheme and need fits at this time. The rest will be up to the players and teams in their quest for glory. There will be successes and busts all the same, but they will always be first-round picks. Welcome to the NFL, gentlemen.
Unnamed sources, bad interview. That's such. I mean, it is. It's like put your name on it. I'm tired of. We tear these young men down. These are 21, 22 young men, and if people out there can tell me they're perfect in their lives, it's crap.